The distant hum of the emergency broadcast system pierced through every device on Earth, a sound humanity hadn't heard since the great wars of the past century. But this time, it wasn't coming from any terrestrial source. The signal originated from somewhere beyond our solar system, carrying a message that would forever change our understanding of our place in the cosmos. I remember exactly where I was when it happened, slouched over my desk at the Global Defense Initiative, monitoring deep space frequencies like I had done for the past 7 years. Nothing could have prepared me for what we were about to receive. The message came through in perfect English, as if whoever sent it had been studying us for years. Attention inhabitants of Sol 3. This is High Commander Viridian of the Galactic Dominion. Your species has been classified as a Level 4 civilization with concerning expansion potential. Our analysis indicates you will achieve faster than light travel within the next decade. This message serves as your first and final warning. Cease all space exploration programs immediately and remain within your solar system's boundaries. Failure to comply will result in immediate containment protocols. The recording ended with coordinates for a demonstration of their power. A small dwarf planet at the edge of our solar system. Within hours, our most powerful telescopes captured footage of it being reduced to cosmic dust. The message was clear. The galaxy already had masters, and they weren't interested in sharing. But they didn't understand humans very well. Throughout our history, whenever someone told us to back down, to stay in our place, we pushed back harder. Within days, governments worldwide began sharing classified space technology. Former rivals became allies. The space race that had once divided nations now united them against a common threat. As the head of communications at GDI, I watched in awe as humanity achieved in months what might have taken decades. Underground manufacturing facilities sprung up across every continent. Military satellites were quietly replaced with something far more sophisticated. We worked in silence, in secret, preparing for what we knew would come. The Galactic Dominion probably expected us to cower, to retreat into our little corner of space and be grateful for being allowed to exist at all. They thought their warning would break our spirit. Instead, it lit a fire. Every scientist, engineer, and tactician on Earth worked around the clock, pushing the boundaries of what we thought possible. 6 months after the warning, we detected multiple objects entering our solar system. The Dominion had sent their containment fleet, probably expecting to find a frightened species ready to submit to their authority. What they found instead was humanity's United Space Defense Force, armed with technology they never imagined we could develop so quickly. I'll never forget the words of our fleet admiral broadcasting across all channels as the alien ships approached. To the Galactic Dominion, you gave us a choice between submission and extinction. We choose neither. You should have studied Earth's history more carefully. Humans don't run from bullies. We stand our ground. The massive screens in our command center showed our fleet moving into position, weapons primed. Thousands of ships built in secret, crewed by the best pilots from every nation. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was humanity's declaration to the galaxy that we wouldn't be pushed around. As the alien fleet drew closer, I couldn't help but smile. They thought they were coming to contain a primitive species, but they were about to learn why you should never back humans into a corner. The battle that would decide Earth's fate was about to begin, and we were ready to show the galaxy exactly what humanity was capable of. The real question wasn't whether we would survive. It was whether the Galactic Dominion was prepared for what they had just unleashed. The first shots weren't fired by either side. Instead, a massive energy surge from the Dominion fleet swept across our defensive line, probably meant to disable our supposedly primitive systems. Their overconfidence was their first mistake. Our ship's quantum shields, reverse-engineered from studying their demonstration on that dwarf planet, absorbed the surge completely. The look of shock must have been universal across their bridge when their sensors showed our fleet completely intact. The silence that followed was deafening. For 30 seconds, both fleets faced each other, a standoff that felt like it lasted an eternity. From my station at GDI headquarters, I could see the tension on every face in the command center. Years of preparation had led to this moment, and no one was entirely sure if it would be enough. Then our admiral's voice crackled through the comms again. Tactical analysis confirms they've brought enough firepower to glass half our planet. But they don't know what we've hidden beneath the surface of Mars. As if on cue, the red planet's surface began to shift. The Dominion sensors must have gone crazy as hundreds of gun platforms emerged from the Martian dust, a defense network we've been building since the day we received their warning. The alien commander's voice boomed across all frequencies, this time with noticeably less composure. This level of technological advancement is impossible. You were barely achieving lunar colonization 6 months ago. Our admiral's response was simple. You'd be amazed what humans can achieve when you threaten our children's future. What followed was a display of tactical brilliance that would be studied for generations to come. Our smaller, more agile ships darted between their massive cruisers, exploiting blind spots in their defense systems that we discovered through months of analyzing their technology. The Martian defense grid provided covering fire, forcing their fleet to divide their attention. But the Dominion hadn't become the galaxy's ruling force by being easy to defeat. Their secondary fleet emerged from hyperspace behind Jupiter, attempting to flank us. If it weren't for the quantum entanglement communicators we developed, allowing instant coordination between our forces, they might have succeeded. As I monitored the battle communications, a pattern emerged in the enemy's tactics. They were fighting according to a strict doctrine, movements too predictable for a species that had supposedly conquered countless worlds. Something wasn't adding up. The breakthrough came from an unlikely source, a young data analyst who'd been studying their communication patterns. "Sir," she called out across the command center, "their ships are operating on automated protocols. There's no crew aboard any of them." The revelation hit like a thunderbolt. This wasn't their real fleet. It was an automated containment force, exactly as they'd called it. The Dominion had never intended to waste actual resources on us. They'd sent machines to do their dirty work, probably the same way they'd dealt with dozens of other emerging civilizations. But their automated systems weren't designed to handle an opponent that could fight back at their level. As our forces pressed the advantage, I couldn't help but wonder what would happen when the real Dominion fleet arrived. These automations were just the first wave, a test of our capabilities. The real battle hadn't even begun yet. The tactical display showed our forces gaining the upper hand against the automated fleet, but there was no celebration in the command center. Everyone knew this was just the beginning. Somewhere out there, the actual Galactic Dominion was watching, analyzing, and probably realizing that humanity wouldn't be such an easy species to contain after all. We had won our first battle against the stars, but the war for our right to exist among them was just beginning. 3 days after our victory over the automated fleet, we detected something massive forming at the edge of our solar system. The readings were off the charts, a hyperspace corridor large enough to accommodate thousands of ships. The real Dominion force was arriving, and they weren't playing games anymore. Our battlefield analytics painted a grim picture. The automated fleet had been a test, probing our defenses and gathering data on our capabilities. We had revealed our hand, shown them everything we could do, and now they were coming with countermeasures. The massive energy signature approaching through hyperspace suggested they were bringing enough firepower to end this quickly. But humanity had one last card to play. While their automated fleet had been focusing on our obvious defenses, they'd missed what we were building in the asteroid belt. Project Phoenix, our ultimate gambit, had remained hidden from their scans. Even most of Earth's military leaders didn't know its true nature. Only a handful of scientists and top officials knew what we had discovered while studying the remnants of that destroyed dwarf planet. The Dominion's demonstration of power had given us more than just their weapons technology. It had revealed a fundamental flaw in their understanding of spatial mechanics. They had mastered the art of destruction, but missed something far more important about the nature of space itself. All ships, battle positions. Our admiral's voice was steady despite the gravity of the situation. Today we show them humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to see what others miss. The fleet moved into formation, but this time it was different. We weren't positioning for defense or attack. We were creating a pattern, a massive geometric shape across space. The hyperspace corridor burst open, and the sight was terrifying. Thousands of Dominion warships emerged, their hulls gleaming with technology far beyond what the automated fleet had possessed. Their weapons could literally tear space apart. This was the force that had conquered a galaxy, and they had come to make an example of us. The High Commander's message was broadcast across every frequency in every language. Your resistance ends now. You were warned. There will be no further communication. Their fleet began moving into attack formation, a sight so massive it blotted out the stars behind them. But something was happening to our fleet. The pattern we'd formed wasn't random. It was a key, unlocking something the Dominion had never thought possible. The space between our ships began to shimmer, forming connections of pure energy. Project Phoenix was activating, and the laws of physics themselves seemed to hold their breath. The Dominion fleet halted their advance. Their sensors must have been going crazy trying to understand what we were doing. We had discovered something in their weapons' signature, a harmonic frequency that didn't just destroy, it could reshape reality itself. While they had focused on using this power for destruction, we had seen its true potential. As Project Phoenix reached full power, our admiral sent one final message to the Dominion fleet. You thought you were gods among the stars, but you never understood the true power you wielded. Allow us to demonstrate. The energy web between our ships pulsed, and for a moment, space itself seemed to bend. The Dominion fleet opened fire, their weapons capable of shattering planets. But they were about to learn that humanity hadn't been preparing for a battle. We had been preparing to rewrite the rules of space itself. As their energy weapons approached our fleet, Project Phoenix activated its final sequence, and the universe around us began to change in ways that even we couldn't fully predict. As Project Phoenix activated, something unexpected happened. The energy web between our ships didn't just deflect the Dominion's weapons, it started pulling in their energy, growing stronger with each blast they fired. But then our sensors detected another anomaly, something we hadn't planned for. Tiers in space-time began forming throughout the solar system, revealing glimpses of ourselves. Through these rifts, we could see alternative versions of our fleet, fighting the same battle across different timelines. In some, we were losing. In others, different strategies were playing out. The Dominion's weapons, combined with Project Phoenix, hadn't just bent space. They had cracked open the walls between parallel realities. The command center erupted in chaos as data poured in from hundreds of temporal sensors. Sir, our chief scientist's voice shook as she reported, we're not just seeing other timelines. We're synchronizing with them. The quantum field is linking all versions of humanity across multiple dimensions, and it's still expanding. The Dominion fleet halted their assault, clearly detecting the same phenomenon. Then something remarkable happened. We began receiving transmissions from these other timelines. Different versions of our fleet, each with their own experiences fighting the Dominion, started sharing tactical data across the dimensional barrier. This is beyond anything we could have predicted. Our admiral breathed, watching as the tactical display showed hundreds of timeline variations merging into our reality. We didn't just discover a weapon, we found a way to unite every version of humanity that chose to fight back. The Dominion's response came swiftly and desperately. Their fleet split into smaller groups, attempting to isolate and destroy the rifts. But each attack only fed more energy into the quantum field, strengthening the connections between timelines. We could see the panic in their tactics. This was beyond anything they had encountered in their millennia of galactic dominance. Then came the second revelation, even more shocking than the first. Through the temporal rifts, we discovered why the Dominion was so afraid of humanity reaching the stars. In timeline after timeline, we saw glimpses of a future they had been desperately trying to prevent. Humans working alongside other species, forming alliances, sharing technology. We weren't just a potential threat to their power. We were a threat to their entire philosophy of galactic control. All versions of Earth forces, coordinate your attacks, our admiral commanded, broadcasting across all timelines. The Dominion isn't fighting to contain us. They're fighting to prevent a future where their control over other species ends. But as our parallel forces began to synchronize, something started happening to the fabric of reality itself. The quantum field was growing unstable. the energy levels rising beyond anything we had calculated. The very thing that gave us an advantage now threatened to tear apart the boundaries between all possible timelines. The Dominion fleet suddenly began retreating, not out of fear of our weapons, but out of recognition of what was about to happen. Their High Commander's final message carried a tone we had never heard from them before, not anger or superiority, but genuine concern. You don't understand what you've done. The quantum barriers between realities were never meant to be breached. If you don't stop this now, you'll doom every version of humanity across all timelines. In the command center, alarms blared as our sensors detected a cascading quantum reaction spreading through the solar system. We had moments to make an impossible choice: press our advantage and risk the collapse of all reality, or shut down Project Phoenix and face the Dominion's wrath alone, without our parallel selves. The fate of not just our timeline, but all possible versions of humanity, hung in the balance, and somehow we had to find a way to save ourselves without destroying everything in the process. The quantum cascade was accelerating, reality itself buckling under the strain of too many timelines converging. Through the rifts, we could see versions of Earth beginning to phase in and out of existence. The Dominion fleet had retreated to what they thought was a safe distance, but there was no safe distance from what was about to happen. In that moment of crisis, a transmission cut through the chaos, not from another timeline, but from deep within our own solar system. A signal we had never detected before, originating from beneath the surface of Venus. The message was brief: "We've been waiting for this moment for 3 million years." Before we could process what that meant, massive structures began emerging from Venus's toxic atmosphere. They were Earth ships, but far more advanced than anything we had, vessels that had been hidden there since before humanity had even evolved. As they rose into space, we received another transmission. "We are humanity's future, sent back to ensure this moment happens exactly as it should." Our sensors confirmed it. These ships bore the same quantum signatures as our technology, but refined beyond anything we could imagine. They moved into formation around our fleet, and their presence somehow stabilized the temporal rifts. The quantum cascade began to slow. "Your ancestors hit us here," their commander explained, knowing the Dominion would eventually find Earth. "We are your descendants from a timeline where humanity learned to master time itself." The Dominion wasn't afraid of what you are. They were afraid of what you will become. The future ships engaged their temporal drives, creating a controlled quantum field that began merging the best elements from each timeline: the victories, the innovations, the breakthroughs. But instead of causing reality to collapse, they were stabilizing it, weaving a new timeline that combined humanity's greatest achievements across all possible futures. The Dominion fleet, realizing what was happening, launched a desperate final attack. But they weren't firing at us. They were targeting Venus, trying to destroy the evidence of humanity's future evolution. That was their final mistake. Our admiral gave the order that would be remembered across time. All forces, past, present, and future, show them why humanity was never meant to be contained. The combined fleet moved as one, our technology synchronizing with our future selves' temporal mastery. Project Phoenix hadn't been a weapon at all. It had been a key, designed by our future selves, to unlock humanity's true potential at exactly this moment. The battle that followed was beyond description. Ships phasing between moments in time, weapons that could rewrite cause and effect, strategies planned across millennia finally playing out. The Dominion's mighty fleet, for all their advanced technology, found themselves facing an enemy that had literally had millions of years to prepare for this exact battle. But the real victory wasn't in the fighting. As the quantum field stabilized, we discovered what our future selves had actually accomplished. They hadn't just given us a way to defeat the Dominion. They had shown the galaxy a new way to exist. The temporal technology, properly controlled, could allow species to share knowledge and resources across time itself. The Dominion fleet, what remained of it, finally stood down. Their High Commander's last transmission held no threat, only a question. Was this your plan all along? To force us to evolve beyond conquest? Our admiral smiled as she replied, "No. Our plan was to show you why trying to contain humanity was the best mistake you ever made. Now, shall we discuss the future of the galaxy? All of its futures. As the temporal rifts sealed, leaving only our new combined timeline, we realized the truth. Humanity's first war with the galaxy hadn't been about survival or even freedom. It had been about showing an ancient empire that there was always a bigger picture, if you were willing to look across time itself to see it. The stars above Earth shone a little brighter that day, as if reflecting the light of countless possible futures finally merging into one where humanity would help guide the galaxy towards something greater than conquest. The war was over, but our real journey was just beginning. In the months that followed our victory, Earth became the center of an unprecedented galactic transformation. The Dominion's former empire didn't collapse. Instead, it evolved. Our temporal technology, guided by our future selves, allowed civilizations to learn from their alternate histories, choosing better paths forward. What had started as a war ended as a renaissance. The Venus colony of our future selves became a center of learning, where species from across the galaxy came to understand the intricate dance of time and space. They didn't share every secret. Some knowledge, they explained, had to be earned at the right moment. But they taught us enough to ensure we would grow responsibly into our role as guardians of temporal technology. Most fascinating were the stories our future selves shared about how they had hidden beneath Venus's clouds, watching humanity's progress across the ages. They had been there during our greatest triumphs and darkest hours, maintaining their silent vigil, knowing they could never interfere until the exact right moment. Their patience had spanned millions of years, all to ensure this one pivotal moment played out perfectly. The Dominion, stripped of their need for absolute control, proved to be remarkable allies. Their experience in managing vast regions of space became invaluable as we helped species across the galaxy connect with their own alternate timelines, learning from paths not taken. Wars that had raged for centuries ended as civilizations glimpsed the peace they could achieve. Back on Earth, life changed in subtle but profound ways. Knowing that our descendants would one day become the guardians of time itself gave humanity a new sense of purpose and responsibility. Countries that had united against the Dominion stayed united, working together to ensure we lived up to the legacy our future selves had shown us. Project Phoenix was decommissioned, its technology carefully preserved but never again used to merge timelines. As our future selves explained, such events should only happen once in a galaxy's history, a moment of convergence to set all civilizations on a better path. Our role now was to help others learn from their alternate histories without breaking the barriers between them. I still work at the GDI, though my job has changed considerably. Instead of monitoring deep space for threats, we now coordinate with civilizations across the galaxy, helping them understand their own potential futures. The Dominion's High Commander became a frequent visitor to Earth, working alongside us to transform their former empire into a network of cooperating worlds. Sometimes, on quiet nights, I look up at Venus glowing in the sky and think about our future selves, patiently waiting all those millions of years. They've returned to their own time now, their mission completed, but they left us with one final message that I think about often. The greatest power in the universe isn't the ability to destroy or conquer. It's the patience to wait for the right moment to show others a better way. Humanity's first war with the galaxy had ended with neither victory nor defeat, but with something far more valuable: understanding. We had faced extinction and emerged as teachers, helping ancient empires learn that the future isn't something to fear or control, but something to nurture and guide. The stars don't look threatening anymore. When I see them twinkling in the night sky, I see the lights of countless civilizations learning to look across time, just as we did, and choosing better paths forward. And somewhere out there, in a future we're still working toward, our descendants are preparing for their journey back through time, knowing that the cycle will continue. That's the thing about time. It's not just a straight line from past to future. Sometimes it's a circle, bringing us back to exactly where we need to be, exactly when we need to be there. And sometimes, the best way to win a war is to show your enemy a future where you don't have to fight at all.